Means we're live. Some Casual Takes, episode 67, hosted by your boy Stephen Pepper, here to casually talk sports. It's good to be back. We did have a show on Friday. Was a little busy with some schoolwork. I'm kind of, trying to catch up with some stuff, but we're back on Monday. As soon as, basketball season comes around and we have more topics to discuss, we're going to have more episodes, more consistent episodes. But it seems right now the staple is Monday. But this Friday, I'm trying to get an episode out so you guys get two in a week. But just know Monday definitely isn't moving. This episode is brought to you by no one. I'm glad to be here Monday. Just got out of class and ready to talk some sports today. We're going to talk Cowboys, Niners. We're going to talk about some New England Patriots stuff. I want to also talk about Baltimore Ravens and then the Colts. I want to start talking. I got a cemented Colts segment. So I'm bringing some Indianapolis Colts. And then that will close us out today with the Colts. But first, Drake dropped. He said ads. Wait, do you guys get ads when you watch? When you pull up my stream, you guys get ads? I guess that's back when I was doing e-dates on Twitch. I still use the same account, just changed my name. So you guys get ads. That's interesting. I think I did set it up that way where you get ads. That's kind of funny. Sorry for the ad. It's still the intro though, but let's get into it. First of all, I did say when Drake dropped an album, I would give my quick initial thoughts on the album. So here are mine. So, Drake dropped an album Friday morning, technically, not even Thursday night, because he dropped it at 6 a.m. He dropped For All the Dogs, his latest studio album. I'm the biggest Drake fan ever. I don't think you can see it, but right here, I have a Drake flag. That's how much I like Drake. Light skin. I listen to Drake every single day, pretty much, it feels like, especially with the new album getting dropped. So what are my overall thoughts? It was okay. Let me know. If you guys like the album, you guys didn't like it, let me know. But for me, I thought it was okay. Like, it was an okay album. My favorite songs, of course, First Person Shooter with J. Cole is one of my favorite songs. I liked Virginia Beach, Amen. The intro is pretty good. Calling for You with 21's a decent song, but it's got it just feels like a mess. It's got like this break in between Drake and 21 Savage with like a random girl talking. But there's some other songs I liked. Some of the R&B songs were okay. The Sexy Red song, although I hate the fact that Drake's clout chasing, which is one of my issues with Drake. The fact that he's got Yeet on a song. He's got all these random artists like Sexy Red. You can tell Drake is clout chasing. The Sexy Red song was kind of catchy. Why is it that's how the album is not that great when a Sexy Red song is one of the most catchy popping songs of the album. It's like with Drake, you can tell he's trying to get younger. Most rappers like a J. Cole, Jay-Z, when they age, Nas, when they get older, their music also gets older as well. They get more introspective. They start talking more conscious and reflecting on their later life. Drake, he's cracking 40, guys. Drake is trying to make music for younger people. He's trying to get younger, which makes I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to prolong his longevity, but it's making his music far worse. He's hopping on songs with guys who make music for TikTok, like Sexy Red and Yeet, to stay relevant. He's a Lil Yachty, when in reality, Drake should cut back on the features, or at least if he's going to feature these guys, make songs that don't sound like Drake's getting featured. Like some of these songs with Yeet, it sounds like Drake's hopping on this song. It sounds like a Yeet song featuring Drake, when in reality, it should be a Drake song featuring Yeet. That's just my overall thoughts on my album. Of course, Drake said, come with a classic. Years later, they say it's a sleeper. So probably a year, give it a year. It's going to grow on me a bit. But right now, right now, it just doesn't sound that hot. Okay, let's go to football. Let's talk Cowboys, 49ers. That was a Sunday Night Football game. I have to pull up some of my notes here because it just crashed. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I had some notes up, but some of my notes crashed. Okay, Cowboys and 49ers. So the Dallas Cowboys went into San Francisco Levi's Stadium and lost 42-10. Bears scene got beat up by the 49ers. This was supposed to be, for Dallas, the ultimate prove-it game. This was supposed to be the measuring stick game where Dallas comes in on the road, San Francisco, a team that's beat them in back-to-back playoffs, that's sent Dallas home back-to-back. They lost now 3, including the regular season, 3 straight games to the 49ers going into this. This was supposed to be the game where the Dallas Cowboys, who I thought this was the first year where I'm comfortable in saying Dallas has a team that can win it all. Defense is terrific. Run game's great. Weapons. No Kellen Moore. McCarthy calling the plays. not so aggressive. Dak Prescott isn't turning the ball over. Dak's keeping the ball out of harm's way. Cowboys' first couple games look really good. Kind of look like the Cardinals. You can live with that loss to the Cardinals. It's going to be a fluke if you're blowing out every other team you play, hanging 30 on them. But they go into San Francisco, the ultimate prove-it game. Can they match the San Francisco 49ers, which outside that Brock Purdy injury game in Philly in the conference championship, they're riding like a 11-10 game win streak. 49ers are seen as the best team in football. Can the Cowboys do it? Cowboys just shat the bed, it looks like. That's what it looks like the Cowboys just did. The 49ers on Sunday night just looked like they were in a completely different class than the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, from coaching, Shanahan just looks so much miles smarter than Mike McCarthy. From quarterback, which I'm going to get into later, they even look better. And, of course, the skill positions. Parsons gets matched by Bosa. CD gets matched by Ayuk, Debo. Pollard gets matched by CMC. Zach Martin gets matched by Trey Williams. They have everything that Dallas has plus more. They're just a class above Dallas. Like I said, I thought coming in the game, Dallas, even if they lost by like 3 points, tough game, they could still maintain, okay, we're close to San Francisco in the tiers. But now it kind of looks like they're just a whole Grand Canyon below the 49ers. And with Detroit, winning in a good fashion against Carolina, it kind of looks like Detroit is inching closer to Dallas, while Dallas is falling all the way down from San Francisco. The 49ers defense, it's just so dominant. You got Fred Warner, Hall of Famer. You got Bosa, Hall of Famer, decent secondary, decent coaching. You got Greenlaw, you got all these other guys, Hargrave. This defense is elite. They're allowing just under 14 points a game. They just punish you offensively, defensively. It just feels like this team can't lose. And they can't lose because they just punish everyone they play. The Cowboys had 8 first downs to the 49ers having 25. 8 first downs to 25. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I hinted to it. I can't believe I'm saying this. But Brock Purdy is better than Dak Prescott. Let's look at the stats. Dak Prescott, 14 to 24. $153 passing yards, touchdown, 6.8 yards with throw, 3 interceptions, 46.4 QBR, 51.6 rating. Brock Purdy, 17 for 24, completing a couple more passes, way more yards, 252 yards and about 10.5 yards per throw, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Way better rating, way better QBR. And I was always one of those guys. I want to apologize to Brock Purdy. Although I still don't think he's that special, I was one of those guys I was very critical of Brock Purdy. Always thought, smart, did his job, make the correct throws that Shanahan wants him to do, accurate, whatever. Can he push the ball down the field? Is that arm that great? How mobile is he? I had questions about him. Thought he was a system guy. Saw Jimmy G go to the Super Bowl. Thought this was a system guy. Watching this game, Brock Purdy actually cemented himself as someone more than a system quarterback. Still close to being a system quarterback, but he's showing that he's more of a system quarterback. Because he's like, oh, yeah, CMC. CMC ran for less than 3 yards a carry. Deebo Samuel, virtually irrelevant. And Purdy still had 4 touchdown passes, didn't turn the ball over. In 11 possessions with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys managed 1 touchdown, 1 field goal, 3 interceptions, and 9 drives with 3 plays or fewer. While Brock Purdy's throwing 4 touchdowns. Scoring pretty much every single drive. That first drive, come down, surgical. Other than like that touchdown pass he had to Turpin, how many great throws did Prescott have last night? How many? I know, Purdy, he has the weapons. Oh, Purdy has a Debo. He has an Ayuk. He has a Kittle. He has a CMC. He has a scheme from Shanahan. It's not like Dak Prescott doesn't have a CeeDee Lamb, a Super Bowl winning head coach, a Tony Pollard, and a great defense with a Parsons off the edge. Like, other than experience, what does Dak today do better than Brock Purdy? Purdy can move. Brock Purdy was avoiding sacks from Micah Parsons. He made Micah Parsons pretty much not record a single stat all night. That's how mobile playmaking-wise Purdy can. Purdy is willing to push the ball down the field. He's one of the most accurate deep ball throwers, doesn't turn the ball over in the season. He's cool in the pocket. He can move around when needs to, but he doesn't get scared. He's poised. He's miles more accurate than Dak Prescott. And the biggest separator of them all is he doesn't make these boneheaded interceptions like Dak always does. It's like the opposite of Dak. Dak, this isn't 2017 anymore. Dak can barely move. Dak's more of a pocket passer who's losing his playmaking ability by the day. Dak Prescott, he's not pushing the ball down the field. Like, unless it's like wide open, he's not pushing the ball down the field. He's not that cool in the pocket. He's definitely not as accurate as Brock Purdy, and he makes so many boneheaded interceptions. Dak has as many interceptions in his last 3 games than Purdy has in his entire career so far. And Purdy has an it factor, where it seems like Dak, outside of his rookie year, where's Dak's it factor? How many signature wins? Let me ask you guys, how many signature wins does Dak Prescott have? How many? This was supposed to be a signature win for Dak Prescott. How many signature wins does Dak Prescott have? I mean, the Tampa Bay wild card game last year, I can think of one. They beat Seattle and Dallas, like 5 signature wins does he have? He doesn't beat the Eagles that much. Oh, if you want to count the Eagles with Gardner Minshew as a signature win last year, cool, dude. Cool. Purdy wins big games. He has an it factor. And also, Purdy's cheaper. It doesn't really mean he's better, but he's cheaper. Which we all know in this league, the best way to win is have a great roster and a cheaper quarterback. So that just means his contract is putting the 49ers in a better chance of winning. I'm going to apologize. I still don't know how good Brock Purdy is, but I'm going to apologize to a couple people who I have been very critical, expressing my critiques of Brock Purdy to, because I'm watching this game against Dallas, against arguably the best defense in the league. Parsons off the edge, Stephon Gilmore, Van Der Esch, great guys. I know they're thinning out at corner, it seems like now, without a Trevon Diggs, and a couple other guys are getting banged up. Purdy looked calm. Purdy was accurate. Doesn't make, Purdy, although you can see the scheme is opening up a lot for him. You can see the scheme's opening up a lot for him as far as like some open guys down the field. But he's doing what he's told. This 49ers scheme couldn't work with Trey Lance. Trey Lance was pick number 3. At least Purdy, although he doesn't look special, he doesn't turn the ball over, which is the biggest thing you don't want a quarterback not to do, is turn the ball over. That's what you don't want a quarterback to do, is turn the ball over, and Purdy doesn't do that. And then the Cowboys, I said it earlier, it just seems like the best way for the Cowboys to win, it seems like there's only one way, especially if they want to beat these good teams. The best way the Cowboys can win, it seems like it's when the defense is number one, when it's the defense scoring 2 touchdowns a game, forcing about 3 to 4 turnovers a game, pick sixes, fumble sixes, blocked field goals. It seems like that's what the defense needs. Parsons, 5 sacks a game. And then offensively, run first. Pollard in this game, pull the stats here. Pollard in this game, virtually irrelevant. 8 carries, 29 yards. Kind of gave up on running him the football. 3.6 yards a carry. Pollard didn't have a 100-yard game. Didn't have a touchdown. The receivers weren't open. CeeDee Lamb was getting double-teamed pretty much virtually all night. Only had 5 targets, 4 receptions, like 49 yards. And then Dak Prescott, as a result, was now forced to put the ball in harm's way. So if the defense isn't scoring like getting 2 turnovers and a touchdown, Tony Pollard isn't getting what he wants as far as running, and his receivers aren't open, and Dak Prescott can't be in a position where the ball is not in harm's way, this Dallas Cowboys team isn't winning. I think what they need to do now is just regroup and try to beat the Eagles, because they get 2 cracks at the Eagles. They haven't played the Eagles. They play them twice because of the NFC East. They get 2 cracks at the Eagles. The Eagles are what we believe the second team. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They did, albeit Purdy injury, beat the 49ers in the championship game. The Eagles are kind of seen as on the 49ers level. There's like no huge hole in the Eagles or 49ers personnel skill positions. Great coaching. They need to beat the Eagles firmly, or else it just looks like the Dallas Cowboys are just miles worse than the Eagles and 49ers. If anyone's ever played fantasy football, they know, or any other sport, if you're a fan of a team, you know that where the Cowboys are at is where like you're really, really good. You can win a lot of games, but you're not good enough to be in that tier 1. That's where the Cowboys are at right now. And I think they need to regroup and try to beat the Eagles, or else it's like they're a divisional exit, despite having a talented roster. And a lot of it's because Dakota Prescott. All right, let's move on to Saints versus Patriots. The New Orleans Saints did something that I've rarely seen in my lifetime. They went into Foxborough, and not only did they go into Foxborough, they shut out Bill Belichick's New England Patriots 34-0. This season has been an absolute disaster for the Patriots. I remember earlier in the season, I don't know if I said this on a podcast specifically, but I remember saying earlier in the season after that Eagles game that this Patriots team, kind of like what they did last year, is I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. They could sneak in, last seed on a couple fluky wins, but they're good enough to make these competitive games against the best teams in the league. They can win maybe like 7 to 9 games in a season, be really competitive, just miss the playoffs, but they give these good teams a run for their money. I'm wrong. They're getting smacked now. It's looking bad. This Patriots team is getting worse from they were 2 years ago and worse from they were last year. The New England Patriots have been outscored 72-3 in their last 2 games. 72-3. 3 points in the last 2 games. That's bad. The Saints have, this is to a, I get the Cowboys loss. Okay, fine. Cowboys, this is what the Cowboys like to do. We were just talking about it. This is what the Cowboys always do to these, bad teams. They blow them out 30-0. They beat the Patriots 38-3 in Dallas. But the Saints, Foxborough, tough place to play. A Saints team that hasn't scored more than 20 points all season shut out the Patriots 34-0. Not only are the Patriots looking like they're a bad football team, it's going to be hard to win these games if you're digging yourselves in a big hole to start each contest. 16-0 against the Eagles, 17-3 halftime deficit to the Dolphins. Lost the game 38-3 to the Cowboys, and now got shut out 34-0 against Saints. They have one win against Zach Wilson, and I think Zach Wilson's second start replacing Rodgers. They haven't got everything figured out yet, and it was in New England. That's what Bill Belichick does. He just shuts out, makes it miserable for young mid quarterbacks. I've noticed a lot of things when watching these Patriots games. First off, that aura is gone. That aura the New England Patriots have is gone. I don't know about you guys, but I was born in the top of the 2000s. So that's when the Patriots were winning Super Bowls. That's when they started their dynasty, started winning Super Bowls. Then I really started getting into football when they started winning more of their Super Bowls. So I've always been accustomed to, in my entire life, seeing a Patriots team win divisions, win Super Bowls, win big games, and Foxborough especially. I remember seasons where New England Patriots, they would maybe lose one home game all year. That's it. They'll so many seasons where they'll win every single game at home. It was impossible to win in Foxborough. There was some aura to Foxborough. Bill Belichick, the hoodie, cold, Foxborough, Gillette. It's gone. It's gone now. The Patriots of old. When you think of the Patriots of old, do your job, dynasty, win multiple ways, bounce back, resiliency, 20-3 Super Bowl. That's what the Patriots of old used to be. The Patriots of old, I remember vividly. Remember when the New England Patriots got absolutely ethered on Monday Night Football to the Kansas City Chiefs, Alex Smith's Chiefs. It was 40-3. It was something really bad. It was like they hadn't won a Super Bowl in 10 years. Everyone was saying the dynasty was over. A couple months later, they beat Seattle in Super Bowl. It's like nothing happened. Dynasty kept going. The game after, it was the iconic On to Cincinnati game. The game after, they host Cincinnati. They went from on the road, getting butchered on the road, to hosting a game at home. They killed Cincinnati and Andy Dalton. This was something like the Patriots of old, blown out on the road, come back, Gillette, lock in, kill them. This was Saints to score more than 20 points all year. I expected the Patriots to beat the Saints. And they lost. Now, they do have some talent disparities, but I want to get into this first before I talk about the Patriots' talent. Guys, I think it's time the Patriots move off Bill Belichick. Or I think it's time for Bill Belichick to either find a new coaching job elsewhere or just retire into a less demanding role. Because this Patriots team is done. The dynasty's over. 1-4 start to start a season for the first time since his first year as a Patriots coach. Bill Belichick's coached, I believe, 453 games And he just suffered his 2 worst losses in his career back-to-back weeks. Belichick just can't seem to figure out the offense. It's been 4 years since Brady's left, and they can't get the offense rolling. They had a Cam Newton 1 year. They drafted Mac Jones in 3 years of Mac Jones, so 4 in total. It can't feel like it doesn't seem like they can get the offense right. It's 2023, guys, not 2001. I think Belichick needs to wake up to this. It's an offensive league. Offense first, defense second. Still need a good defense, but offense needs to be very prevalent to win games, big games. Look at the best teams in the league. They all have offensive head coaches. You think about, Packers just lost Aaron Rodgers, but Packers offensive head coach. Rams were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, won it, offensive head coach. Bengals, back-to-back AFC championships, offensive head coach. 49ers, best team in the league, offensive head coach. Eagles, one of the best teams in the league, offensive head coach. Think of the best teams in the league. They all, Chiefs, 2 Super Bowls last 5 years, offensive head coach. Best teams in the league have offensive head coaches. What about the worst teams in the league? Most of them have defensive head coaches. It lines up in 2023. This Patriots offense can't score more than 20 points a game. 3 points the last 2 weeks. One of the biggest reasons why they can't figure the offense out is because Bill Belichick, post-2013, has been a horrible drafter. He hasn't drafted a single Pro Bowl non-reserve in a decade. Belichick, what made the Patriots dynasty so great is from a huge underrated reason was from the 2000-2001 Brady draft, getting Brady in the 6th round, all the way till about 2013. Belichick, this was the reason why Bill Belichick got so much power in the organization, is because they were excellent at drafting. Excellent at drafting. Think about all those drafts. Of course, they drafted great players, great offensive linemen, great defensive players in the first round, but they had so many home runs. Think about a Julian Edelman, a Rob Gronkowski, guys in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, home runs. They're struggling to pick in the 1st round. They can't draft a receiver. When's the last time they've had a great receiver? Now, Randy Moss was their last all-time receiver. But like I said, Edelman, home run. Signing guys like a Hogan, Amendola, home runs. Those guys aren't Pro Bowl receivers. Well, those guys can get open at will. The guys they're signing now, Juju Smith-Schuster and all this mid, they can't get open. Edelman, Hogan, Amendola, Welker, all these receivers, these guys aren't really necessarily Pro Bowlers. But they got open, especially in big games, whenever they wanted to. And it's why their dynasty was so great and why they didn't need elite receivers. But now they do, because the receivers like a Juju can't get open. I think it's now time. I think Belichick, this dynasty, it's over. I think you should probably just, find a front office role or move on from coaching elsewhere. Because it seems like he can't figure the offense out and he can't draft well. His only Pro Bowler from 2013 was Mac Jones. And Mac Jones was a reserve. And let's talk about Mac Jones. Because one of the biggest reasons why this Patriots team isn't getting off is why this Patriots team isn't where they want to be post-Brady is because Mac Jones. Mac Jones was responsible to be the guy in charge under center post-Brady Patriots, and it's not working. I was a bit wrong about Mac Jones because I was one of those guys who said, Mac Jones can work a bit. I never thought Mac Jones was special. Never, ever thought he was special. I saw a low ceiling type guy coming out of the draft, but I thought Mac Jones has a high enough floor, won a national title under a Saban, can go to a Belichick, great defense, good system, can win a bunch of games and still help the Patriots be at least 500 or make a playoff and be competitive and not be absolute dog water. Folks, Patriots are drafting a quarterback this year. They're drafting a quarterback this year. That's what the New England Patriots are doing. They're drafting a quarterback. It seems like Mac Jones has peaked his rookie season. Belichick, great defense, good backs, okay weapons, great offensive line. No film on him, no expectations. He's regressed every single year when the weapons are getting worse, when the line's not as good as it used to be, when the defense is getting 34 points hung on them at home, and it's an offensive league with a defensive coach. Now, Mac Jones, a source close to Mac Jones told Fox Sports' Henry McKenna on his lack of weapons around the Packers roster as one of the reasons why Mac is struggling. He said, no matter how good of a cook you are, you can't make garbage taste good. All right, nice bar, dude. Like, nice bar. First of all, why does Mac Jones have sources in his camp? What are you, Rodgers? Mac Jones is not good enough to have sources in his camp. Why is Mac Jones having a leak from his camp? I hate to break to you, Mac, but your weapons aren't responsible for 3 pick sixes this year. Mac Jones against the Saints, 12 of 22, 100 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked twice, 7 QBR. Derek Carr, who's regressing, who I thought was relatively in the same tier as Mac Jones coming into the season, looks a tier or 2 above Mac Jones in New England. That's how bad Mac Jones was. Mac Jones, let me hit you guys with a stat, and then we're going to move off of the Patriots. Let me hit you guys with a stat. Mac Jones has as many Mac Jones is responsible for as many defensive touchdowns as offensive touchdowns. Mac Jones has 3 pick sixes and a fumble 6. He's responsible for 4 defensive touchdowns. He's 5 offensive touchdowns thrown this year. He's a negative on offense. There's nothing special about Mac Jones. He can't move. We knew that coming in, but it's bad. It's bad. It's like he has no legs. It's like he has literally no legs. It's only upper half. A limited arm. Arm's not special at all. Can't push the ball down the field. Not particularly accurate. And the bone-headed turnovers, along with being a horrible teammate and doing cheap shots on the field to opposing players. Boneheaded interceptions, which is something that I didn't think he was going to do his rookie year. It didn't seem like he was doing much of it. Now, I saw a lot of it last year. He's been benched now back-to-back games for Bailey Zappi. I thought the writing on the wall was last year when he got benched for Zappi, but I thought, bring back Jones, get him some better weapons. Now, the offensive coordinator, you had literally a defensive coordinator as an offense coordinator last year, bringing Bill O'Brien, Alabama genes, Bill Belichick connections. Still not working. Patriots, start sending, scouts to Oregon. Start sending scouts to, Eugene. Start sending scouts to Washington. Start sending scouts to Chapel Hill. Drake May, Bo Nix, Penix, anybody but Mac Jones. All right, let's go to the Ravens and Steelers. I want to talk about this. I don't really like watching AFC North matchups because they're just disgusting. The Steelers beat the Ravens in Pittsburgh 17-10. The most average AFC North matchup. AFC North matchups are like stuck in 2008 where it's like these low scoring 1-2 offensive touchdown games, cold Pittsburgh, defense, 3 and out, punt. Punter's like the star of the game. Kicker's like the star of the game. That's like the AFC North matchups. Turnovers, 1-2 touchdowns. That's what we got. I mean, what'd you expect? One second. But while I'm watching this game, I'm watching the Ravens put up 10 points in Pittsburgh. All I can see is the Ravens are failing Lamar Jackson. That's what I got from this game. The Ravens are failing Lamar Jackson. Lamar's in his 6th year, and I think they failed to put a Super Bowl winning offense around him. Now, Lamar's first year, I think his first couple years, he had many Pro Bowlers. But for the most part, it's been Lamar putting in most of the work. Lamar Jackson against Pittsburgh, he had 16 incompletions and an interception and less than a 50 QBR against Pittsburgh. If you look at the stat sheet in a vacuum, it looks like Kenny Pickett outplayed him. Watch the tape. Kenny Pickett didn't outplay crap. Lamar looked great out there, but the stat sheet won't say that. And it's because his receivers had 5 recorded drops on the day, and I think I saw more than 5. 2 were in the end zone, crucial. Could have been touchdowns to put the game away. Teammates are fumbling. That's Lamar Jackson's supporting cast. Lamar, throughout his entire time, has never, ever had an elite number 1 wide receiver. And it's a problem because the team is making Lamar, as he's aging, and teams are adjusting to his running with contains, making him throw more and more and more and more by the year. His weapons, Mark Andrews, second best tight end in the league. He's great. But other than that, I'm talking receivers here. What have the Ravens given him? They've given him washed vet receivers. I'm thinking like a Sammy Watkins, a Deshaun Jackson, and Odell Beckham Jr. And they drafted young, but they did draft young and athletic new guys, but they're all injury prone and have soft hands. Duvernay, Bateman, injury prone, soft hands. Zay Flowers is pretty good, and I think he can turn into something, but I don't think Zay Flowers is a true number one elite wide receiver, at least when I'm seeing these first couple of games. A lot of expectations put on him, but he is a first-round wide receiver on a team that desperately needs a number one, and he had a couple drops against the Steelers. I mean, Duvernay, 1 target, no catches. Bateman, 3 targets, 1 catch. Odell Beckham Jr., 4 targets, 2 catches, 13 yards. Nelson Aguilar, the dude who's notorious for not being good, but for being drafted above Justin Jefferson. Zay Flowers, 4th game of his life. That's who you're giving to Lamar Jackson. Lamar's best weapon, Hollywood Brown, is gone. But even then, Hollywood Brown, when he was playing for the Ravens, had a drop problem. This team's identity is mostly a power running team. But with what running backs are you giving Lamar Jackson? Oh, Justice Hill. What's your best running back? J.K. Dobbins, he's solid, but he plays 2 games a year. And then Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. They're not that good. Justice Hill, 7 carries, 32 yards. He had a touchdown. They're okay. 12 carries, 48 for Gus Edwards. Lamar is the best running back on the team. And now what makes it worse is that they just pay Lamar, which is going to make it even difficult to acquire talent. So talent is going to just get worse because now that they paid him. You guys know the thing. You guys know the rule in football, the golden rule. Best chance to win a Super Bowl is have a really good roster with a quarterback on a cheap deal. A rookie deal, preferably. But now once you pay the quarterback, it's going to get tough to even provide weapons around him. You're going to lose some key offensive linemen. You're going to lose some captains on that defense. You're going to lose a wide receiver or 2 that you could get from spending a lot of money. You're going to have to just bank on hitting home run after home run after home run in the draft. But if you're spending, but the Ravens are, Lamar Jackson's winning like 3 out of the 4 games he plays. So it's not like they're going to have a bad draft pick to get like the best receiver in the draft or to get the best running back in the draft, the best tackle in the draft, the best defensive player in the draft. Lamar's winning 3 out of his 4 games when healthy. They're going to be picking from like 20 to like 26 when they have Lamar. So they're getting probably the 4th best receiver in the draft, the 3rd best receiver in the draft. Zay Flowers apparently can turn into the best receiver in the draft. We'll see. They're getting like the 2nd, 3rd best. They're getting like they're getting the breadcrumbs. You know what I'm saying? They're getting like the 4th, 5th best player at the position. The Ravens are failing Lamar Jackson. He needs an elite wide receiver. But instead, you're giving him what? Bateman, Duvernay, Zay Flowers. Look at everyone. Look at who he's competing with. Look who he's competing with. Now, I know Mahomes, like Jackson, doesn't have a wide receiver. It's going to hurt soon. It's going to hurt the Chiefs soon. It's going to catch up the Chiefs soon, the fact that they have no wide receiver. But Mahomes is better than Lamar Jackson. He can make it a bit. He's a bit better thrower, bit better playmaker than Lamar. He can make it more work. And 2, he had Tyreek Hill at one point. Where's Lamar's Tyreek Hill? Joe Burrow in his division. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, instantly. Where's that for Lamar? They're making Lamar throw more and more by the year because teams are adjusting and containing his running. So he has to start making more throws in the pocket. But to who? 5 drops by the Ravens, and that's why they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the biggest reasons, if you guys watch my preseason standing predictions, I didn't have the Ravens making the playoffs this year. I think they probably will make the playoffs because Lamar wins like 3 out of his 4 games. But the biggest reason why I didn't have making the playoffs outside of like Lamar health issues is because his weapons aren't that great. They're overrated. Best weapons of Lamar's career. That's the lowest bar I've ever heard in my life. They're failing him. But let's go to Titans-Colts. All right, Titans-Colts. We're back. It's a new era in Indianapolis, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute new era in Indianapolis. I want to make this. I said this like 2-3 weeks ago. I've been slacking on it, but we're starting today. Every Monday, we're going to have a Colts segment. Every Monday, we're going to have a Colts segment towards the end of the show because, no one wants to hear about the Colts in like the first 10, 20 minutes. Everyone's here about the Sunday Night Football, whatever. Next year, though, Colts are going to be like top 2 segment because we're going to be a legit team next year. But this year, we're still rebuilding. We're still turning it around, but we're turning it around a lot faster than I thought we could. So the Colts, my Indianapolis Colts, hosted the Tennessee Titans and won 23-17. This win, I think, closed the chapter. Now you say the draft did it, but I think this has really shown that we've unfolded, we've opened a new chapter in Indianapolis. There's a new era in Indy. This was actually the first home win in Lucas Oil for the Colts since October of 2022. I bet that was probably the Chiefs. Unless that Chiefs game was in September, we haven't had a home win since October of 2022. We played a Tennessee Titans team that I remember growing up. The Tennessee Titans were an easy win. I think from about like 2008 to 2018, Titans won maybe like 2 to 3 games against the Colts. Manning owned the Colts. Luck owned the Colts. The Titans used to be an easy win when I was growing up. But now, last couple of years, post Andrew Luck, Rivers, Wentz, Matt Ryan days, the Titans have been tough. They have been really tough. The Titans are 6-3 post Andrew Luck against the Colts, including a 5-game winning streak they had against the Colts going in today. And the Colts won. Also, the Colts beat the Ravens last week. Didn't get to talk about it. The Colts beat the Ravens. And that was 2 weeks ago. The Colts beat the Ravens. That was the first time they beat the Ravens. They've been 0-2 post-Luck. So there's like this new era in Indianapolis that we're starting. I feel like we're finally there post-Andrew Luck. Franchise quarterback. It's kind of looking like we're going to get to Anthony Richardson's health in a second. Really good roster. We got the coach, it looks like. We're rebuilding. And we're moving in the right direction. Also, ticket prices are going up too. Anthony Richardson and our winning is really elevated. I checked some of these Colts prices. They're up a lot more than they were these last 2 years, especially last year with the Sam Ellinger days. The Colts last year were the sixth worst. Wow. Need to go speech class. The Colts last year were the 6th worst. There we go. Total offense in terms of yards. Like 2nd worst scoring offense, 10th worst rushing offense. Now you can say like all that rushing and total yards, Taylor missed time, Matt Ryan's a bot, O-line sucked, and they were more pass heavy last season under the last year of Frank Wright and Jeff Saturday. A lot wasn't going right for the Colts. This season, AR, Steichen, O-line, they're now 12th in yards. That's a 180. 8th in rushing. 12 in points. So they're top 12 in points when they were 2nd last year. I know we're 5 games in, but that's a big improvement. The Colts had 8 rushing touchdowns all last year. They have 7 in the first 5 weeks. Again, some of that's because I have to do with Taylor, coaching turnover. That's a big turnaround for the Colts. And I hinted to this, but one of the biggest reasons why the Colts have turned this around, I'm not even mentioning Anthony Richardson. I mentioned the fact that the O-line is back. The O-line, which that first 2 years without Luck and Luck's last season, that O-line was really good. Quentin Nelson, all-pro. Ryan Kelly. We had some studs, Pro Bowlers up front. Last year, heavily criticized unit. So one of the reasons why we were a complete disaster, it made it miserable for Matt Ryan, who couldn't move. Now the offensive line is really back, pushing the pile. We can actually run the football, and it's showing Zach Moss. Oh, my God. Zach Moss, when like the entire headline going into the game was the return of Jonathan Taylor, who signed a 4-year, 4 years, 45 to come to the Colts, about like $12 to $15 million a year to be the featured back. Zach Moss dominated. Now, Taylor was on a limited snap count. He could play like 10 snaps, had 6 carries, 18 yards, 1 catch. He's going to slowly come back in this offense. But you got to feel good about Zach Moss's 23 carries, 165 yards, and 2 tutties. He had a 56-yard run. I'm pretty sure at the end of the game, he slid to chew more clock instead of going for 3 touchdowns. 7.2 yards a carry. Zach Moss, 445 rushing yards to his first 4 games as a Colt. That's one shy of second all time in Colts history, behind Eric Dickerson. That's the impact we're getting from Zach Moss. I can't believe we flipped him for Naheem Hines. That's insane. That's insane. It's funny because, too, Zach Moss, he used to be a Bill. Zach Moss this year is running better than James Cook, by the way. James Cook, you can say he's better, whatever. Zach Moss is running better. And this offensive line is just creating these holes for him that we didn't get all last year. And this is coming against this production that we got against the Tennessee Titans was against the 4th-ranked run defense coming into Sunday. And the Titans also held 10 straight opponents to fewer than 100 yards rushing. And that went 20 games between allowing a 100-yard rusher. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 20 games. And Zach Moss almost put 200 on them. The offense just looks more creative under Shane Steichen. Offensively, with these motions and these new runs and these creative routes, we just look better. Steichen, offensive coordinator for the Eagles, helped the Eagles offense open up. Look at the Eagles offense right now. It's kind of struggling. That's because they minus without Shane Steichen. Steichen went to a Super Bowl. Now he's here. Anthony Richardson, project quarterback just like Hurts, power running team that he implemented in Philly. It's looking like it's coming here too. Now, I will say the Colts going forward need to think about how they're using Anthony Richardson's usage and how, as a runner, he's going to be. Because I know we did draft him as a power running quarterback. He got drafted over Levis because of his running ability. Although he had 55% completion rate in 1-year start at Florida, his two-way ability as far as could throw, strong arm, and run. This is the new age quarterback. That's why we drafted him at 4. But we kind of need to going forward, Steichen, quarterback coach, our offensive guys, we need to talk about how we're using it. Because second injury now in like 4 games for Anthony Richardson. He suffered a grade 3 AC joint sprain yesterday, expected to miss a month. And he had a concussion in week 2 that took him out of game. So he's played. I don't think Anthony Richardson has played a complete game yet. Other than the Rams game, I think that was the first complete game he's played in his career because Mitchell's played in every single one of the other games. The Colts, now why he's getting hurt is because bro thinks he's Josh Allen. I get why. Because he's huge. He's like 6'4", 6'5", like 240. It's like the black Josh Allen. You know what I mean? He's that big of a kid, strong arm, and he thinks he can just put his head down and play running back and run over people. And that's just going to get him hurt. He's kind of like an unlucky Josh Allen, too, because Josh Allen hasn't gotten hurt yet, knock on wood. Hasn't gotten hurt yet because despite refusing to slide. AR, 4 games in his life, he's already gotten hurt twice. He's going to be out a month. The Colts going into the game, they're ranked 4th in NFL in design quarterback runs. How do you think AR got hurt? Design quarterback run. He just got to learn how to slide. And I think, him being without a month, it's going to suck. We're lucky that Gardner's one of the best backs in the league. It's going to suck. But I think when he comes back, we limit the running and he learns, slide. Feet first, not head first. But we have a big test next week against the Jaguars. The Jaguars also post-luck have kind of owned us. A little bit more into the luck era, too. They've beaten us a lot. We need to win that game. We win that game, could win the division. Now, I thought this year with Anthony Richardson, I thought he was too raw enough first year on a Steichen that we win maybe like 4 or 5 games. I didn't think we were going to be this good. I didn't know how good the offensive line was going to be. Wasn't sold on a receiving core. I wanted to see how Josh Downs looks. Josh Downs looks really good. I thought we were going to be bad. It looks like we're already speeding up that process. I thought this is what we're going to look like 2 years from now with maybe like a Marvin Harrison. But this is what we're looking now instead of next year. Great signs ahead for the Indianapolis Colts. So now we just need with Gardner Minshew, we're asking Gardner Minshew again to win another big game, which is fine because he did beat the Ravens. But, all in all, Colts look back. But we got to teach Anthony Richardson how to slide. Well, that's all I got today. I want to thank everybody who tuned in for the show. I know I've been gone for a while. I've been busy college student, a lot of homework, a lot of stuff. Can't sit down and watch all these games. Like I've been so busy, I can't because the part of this is I got to watch the games to give you guys commentary on it because it's bad if I'm just watching the highlights. I got to be able to watch the game, pick out certain moments, do all these readings. I can't do that unless I'm actually watching the games. Homework's preventing me. I'm going to try to work on my schedule and get you guys more consistent uploads on the podcast. Mondays is always going to be stable, but I want to do those Fridays more, especially because NBA season is coming up soon. I want to talk about that. Next show should be Friday at 12, but just in case, kind of like last week, follow all my social media, some casual takes on all handles to stay on everything updated related to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys Friday.